highlighted that political figures are distributing money and valuables to voters in an attempt to influence their voting decisions. The report, which covers the period from October 26 to November 8, 2024, is part of CODEO's comprehensive observation of the upcoming elections. The findings were based on weekly observation reports filed by 97 CODEO long-term observers from 97 constituencies across all regions of the country. A total of 193 weekly reports filed by these observers during the reporting period were analyzed for this report. CODEO emphasized that 10% of the observer reports received indicated instances of votes buying, stating that observers also noted instances of votes buying, with 10% of reports received within the period indicating so. CODEO therefore called on all stakeholders, especially law enforcement agencies, to enforce laws that prohibit votes buying and abuse of incumbency, which contributes to an even playing ground for all presidential and parliamentary candidates ahead of the election. In a related development, independent presidential candidate Nana Kwame Bediako, also known as Cheddar, leader of the New Force movement, has urged voters to reject vote-buying tactics and focus on electing leaders committed to transformative change. Cheddar has embarked on a 276 constituency tour across the country to engage directly with voters. In the central region, he visited key towns such as Mankisim and Mabo and Cape Coast. The central region, historically known as a swing region, is emerging as a crucial battleground for the 2024 elections. During his interaction with residents in Apam on November 19, Nana Kwame Bediako expressed disappointment over the town's stagnant development. He highlighted persistent challenges such as poverty, unemployment, and inadequate infrastructure, attributing them to the failed leadership of successive governments. In his address, he stressed the urgency of achieving economic freedom and empowering the youth to shape Ghana's future. To the Global Info Analytics, the executive director of Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa, has asserted that the New Patriotic Party risks losing all its parliamentary seats in the Western region except that of Sekondi. According to him, the voting pattern has changed and voters are expected to vote based on the economy and job availability. Speaking on the Oman Bapa morning show with Inshira Parkway C. Simpson, he explained the Sekondi parliamentary seat is considered safe due to the performance of the current MP. Available election data from the 2020 elections indicate that out of the 17 parliamentary seats in the Western region, the NPP has 9 seats, whereas the NDC has 8. If the declaration by Musa Dankwa is to materialize, then NPP parliamentary seats, including the Takrady constituency, Kwesimintim constituency, Eskad Keten constituency, and others which have been occupied by the NPP since 1996, may likely go to the NDC. Historically, the Western region has been considered a swing region in the parliamentary elections, with voting patterns shifting between the two major political parties. Therefore, any change in the upcoming elections may not be a surprise. Meanwhile, the MP for Sekondi constituency, Andrew Japa Mercer, in response made it known that he has really worked in the constituency, so it is no news being told that his seat is the safest in the region. Moving on to the NDC, the National Democratic Congress says it will petition Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II over an alleged rigging plot in the Ashanti region involving the General Officer commanding the Central Command of the Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier General Michael Opoku. The party claims that the alleged scheme, allegedly orchestrated under government directives, is aimed at interfering with the electoral process, starting with the special voting exercise scheduled for December 2. Addressing a press briefing on Tuesday, November 19, the NDC's National Communications Officer, Sami Jemfieskwa, stated that the party is seeking the Asantehene's intervention to prevent potential violence. Also, The Member of Parliament for Dwabuso in the Western North region, Kwabena Mita Akando, has raised concerns over recent actions by the Electoral Commission in his constituency. Akando accused the EC of appointing 26 polling officers allegedly linked to the New Patriotic Party, suggesting this could undermine the credibility of the upcoming elections. He also criticized the transfer of the Seshi Dwabuso District Electoral Officer, describing it as a politically motivated. Speaking to journalists in his constituency, he warned that such moves by the EC could destabilize the nation if not promptly addressed. Moving on, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has accused the Jubilee House of orchestrating a campaign of fake news on social media aimed at undermining him and his political efforts. Speaking at a mini rally in the Asinimanso across the constituency in the Eastern region on Tuesday, Mahama alleged that the seat of government has become the hub of misinformation targeting him and others. His remarks came after the chief of Achima Kroso, Nana Kwabena Ofori, issued a disclaimer denying report that he had endorsed NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia during a recent visit. He called on Ghanaians to be vigilant and verify information, urging them not to fall prey to misinformation campaigns as the 2024 elections approach. Moving on to the security service. The Ghana Police Service have pledged to go after persons who engage in violent acts to undermine peace in the country during and after the December 7 elections. Inspector General of Police Dr. Ekufu Dampare said the Election Security Task Force would be ruthless if need to be enforced public order and rule of law. Speaking to a delegation from the Civic Forum Initiative and the Institute of Democratic Governance on Tuesday, November 19, the IGP assured Ghanaians that adequate plans are in place for the polls. According to him, the police has produced a first-ever election blueprint, which he says took 2 years to be produced. The election blueprint is to ensure a peaceful, free and fair election in the country for the next 30 years. Dr. Dampare said since the implementation of the document, peace in elections across the country have improved. In education, the running mate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, has condemned the Ghana National Association of Private Schools, NAPS, for petitioning the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, over alleged discrimination in the free senior high school program. The private schools contend that the government's 30% priority placement policy, which reserves seats at Category A senior high schools for public school students, is discriminatory towards private school students. However, on Tuesday, November 19, during an engagement with students of the University of Professional Studies, Accra, the NPP's running mate rebuked the private schools for their stance. And finally, on the bulletin in business, the Chief Executive Officer of the Independent Power Producers, IPP, Dr. Elikplim Apedokpo, has warned that 3 critical power plants face an impending shutdown due to accumulating unpaid debts. He revealed that the government has defaulted on a $259 million payment owed by the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG. The revelation comes shortly after President Akufo-Addo commissioned the Bridge Power Project intended to address power shortfalls in the energy sector. But in an interview with City News on Tuesday, November 19, he urged the government to act swiftly to prevent the looming shutdown, emphasizing the urgent need to settle the outstanding debts to sustain energy production. He also criticized the assurance from President Akufo-Addo that the country will no longer experience the energy shortage, popularly known as doomsday, that overwhelmed in the past following the commissioning of the new Bridge Power Project. And that's how we wrap up the news on the morning show. But before we leave, let's have a recap of the headlines.
Ogya FM.
Akufo-Addo commissions flower pots interchange. Votes buying reported in Ashanti, Savannah and Western regions, says Cordeo. And on the free SHS, NAPO condemns NAPS over priority placements. And 3 power plants face impending shutdown over $259 million debt. Many thanks for staying and doing the listening. Do stay as Kwame Okoro continues the show. Good morning.